Hello everybody, welcome back. This is CS Natural Fitness. I am CS, you can call me Christopher. And today we're going to be talking about the traps. Before I do that, I did a bicep video where I watched a little bit of it. I kept banging my hands, I kept spinning around, not talking towards the camera, so I'm going to do my best not do that this time. So I apologize because I found that quite painful trying to watch myself. So anyways, and I did multiple videos on the biceps for beginners, intermediate, advanced, and for older adults. Instead of doing, since I repeated myself quite a bit through each video, I have decided just to cram it all together, talk about the scientific anatomy a little bit, and the functions, and then move on to just talking about beginner, intermediate, advanced, what you guys should be doing, possibly be doing. Hopefully I'll help you guys out. So, the trapezius, aka the traps. So this first part is from an actual kinesiology textbook, laboratory manual for clinical kinesiology and anatomy. It is done by a multiple sclerosis physiotherapist named Lynn S. Lippert. I used her on my bicep anatomy video as well, just to give you a little rundown. She is a physiotherapist, so that means she needed a minimum of a 4-year degree in some sort of human science or biology, biochemistry, something like that. And then she moved on to doing actually physiotherapy, which you need a master's for. So that's an extra 2 years. And then all the years after that, she's actually had experience fixing people. You know, you go to physiotherapy, you say this is wrong with the muscle, they already know what you're talking about. They get all that. They understand exactly how the body works, how it's all put together, what the muscles, what the bones, the ligaments, the tendons, all of it does. They know all that. So this first part is actually from her. I am putting it into my own words. I'm not copying her word for word. So the traps connect to the shoulder girdle. If you don't know what the shoulder girdle is, it is your scapula, your shoulder blades. It's on the back. You can pull your shoulders back. You can push them forward. You can go up. You can go down. You can even go like this, and it wings them out. Then there's actually scapular tilt too, but today we're talking about the traps, and the traps don't do scapular tilt, so we're not going to discuss that too much. Once again, it elevates. That means it pulls, your muscles pull your shoulder blades up, and also your shoulders. It also brings them down. It depresses them. And then it protracts them by pushing them forward, and it retracts them by pulling them back. And then it also something called upward or downward rotation, where when you actually bring your arms out, your scapula back here flares out as you lift it up, and then it goes back down. So that is upward and downward rotation. So the traps are actually made of 3 different parts. Everybody just sort of looks at the big old top trap and they're like, oh, traps. That's just one part of the traps. The traps are one muscle, but this muscle does 3. Each part of it does big different things. It's not like they all do the exact same thing. You'll actually see in a little bit how one is actually working against the other part. Give me a couple minutes. I'll explain that to you. So, and as I was saying, the lower and especially the middle traps, the lower traps, usually not bad because pull-downs, which I'll get to in a second. But the middle traps are usually extremely neglected. People are like, oh, why am I having back pain? What's going on? It's usually because your traps are weak. Your middle traps are weak. Even your lower traps are weak. Your upper traps might be so much stronger. You've been relying on your spine to do a lot of work rather than your scapula. That's one thing. I work with a few moms, and I'm actually a new father myself. Just the other day, she turned 11 months. And I get a lot of moms and stuff who are talking about holding their baby all the time, and they want to do like arm workouts so they can hold their baby. And yeah, arm workouts are going to help a little bit, definitely. But they're talking about their back pain and oh, they need to make their arms stronger. And really, like, your arms aren't going to get strong. Like, you don't need your arms to get stronger. You need your scapula to get stronger. You need that retraction to be stronger. So a lot of people, you know, you're holding your baby or whatever, and you get tired, and you start leaning forward because then the spine starts doing the work. It's a big, strong muscle, let it. But it's because they don't have the strength to hold that there. If they did, they really don't put a lot of weight on their actual arms. Most of it is in your shoulder girdle, in your scapula. So, huge deal, huge thing for back pain, especially like upper to like middle back pain, where sometimes you're like, oh, I wish like, oh, it's so tight. That's why your middle traps are weak. So let's get into that. So the upper traps cause scapular elevation and upward rotation, where if these are my two, this is my scapula on the back. As I lift my arm, it sort of goes like that and then goes back down. So that's upward rotation and downward rotation. So once again, the upper traps, the top, all the muscle fibers that are running up help with shoulder elevation and upward rotation. So if you want to work your traps, those are the two functions that the traps do. It also assists in retraction a little bit, because there are some, they all don't run straight up. They sort of are like this, and as you get lower, they go a little bit more out until soon they're pretty much completely horizontal, no longer vertical or on a diagonal, and that's where it turns into the middle traps. The middle traps are extremely effective at, oh, sorry, I banged the desk. I apologize. I hope I haven't done that a lot. Anyways, so the middle traps are extremely effective at scapular retraction. So that's where, instead of pushing your shoulders forward, you pull them back. That's scapular retraction. The middle traps are actually like just above the axis for upward rotation. So basically where that goes through, say my finger would go through, hit my scapula, where it goes up and down at that point, the middle traps are actually just up a little bit above that. So it doesn't do a lot to it. It just sort of helps out a tiny little bit, maybe just a bit of supporting the upper traps, so less likely chance of getting injured or whatever. It's always good when muscles work together because it saves us from injury. Last but not least is the lower traps. It's effective at depression. So this is elevation, this is depression, depression, depression. And it also actually helps in upward rotation of the scapula. Once again, scapula is here, upward rotation, downward. But it actually helps in upward. So for the depression, lat pull-downs, you know, that's going to do it. If you're trying to get really big lats and you're doing the lean back as you do it, not so much, not going to hit it quite as much, still a little bit. You really want to be like completely vertical, have your legs to your body at a 90-degree angle and pull basically straight down. Straight down. And when you do that, you don't want your shoulders to stay down and back. Sometimes you want to do this by keeping them in place, but you want them to elevate so you can depress and pull down. Elevate, depress. Elevate, depress. You can even just actually hold on to a bar and just elevate and depress. We'll get to that in a minute. Just a couple of honorable mentions to do with the whole shoulder girdle is the rhomboids are actually as well prime movers. So prime mover are the main muscles that actually do the work. So when you do a chest press, the main muscle is the chest, but then also the shoulders and the triceps. But then there's a whole lot of other muscles that are helping you support, helping you push, helping keeping your body, everything. So the the prime movers are the main ones, but there are usually other muscles assisting, supporting every movement you make. So the rhomboids are prime movers for retraction and elevation. So when you're doing that, you are going to be working the rhomboids as well. They also assist in downward rotation. So when it goes up like that, they actually assist in bringing it back down. And then the serratus anterior muscle, which I don't have the best serratus anterior, but they're the sort of ab-looking things that wrap around here. Not the obliques, they're a little bit above, but they wrap around here. They really tie in like a big V chest to the abs. Arnold had beautiful serratus. Beautiful serratus. If you Google it, you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Serratus is the prime mover for protraction. I don't think I'll ever do a video on serratus, or maybe I will, but just to give you a quick heads up, everybody says, hold your shoulders back when you're doing chest press. Yeah, it's great. Takes the shoulders out more, triceps a little bit, really focuses on the chest. But just know that when you don't push your shoulders forward like that, you're losing that contraction and that function of the serratus. I personally like to just do on my back days, I will go to a bench, machine bench, whatever the heck, or even push-ups, maybe throw a 45 on my back, and I will get into push-up position, and I will just go like that. Just like that. That works the serratus. That's exactly what it does. It protracts the shoulders. It pushes them forward. So, also the pectoralis minor assists in depression, downward rotation, and scapular tilt. Once again, we're not going to talk about that. Upper and lower traps are actually antagonistic muscles. So I talked about this before. So your chest, your back, antagonist. Your biceps to your triceps, antagonist. They are the opposing muscles, and they sort of balance each other out. That's one thing. If you have really strong chest, really strong chest and front delts, you're going to pull yourself this in, and you don't have quite as strong of a back, you're slowly going to go like this, and you're going to have bad posture because your chest will be so strong that it pulls that. So you need to work out your back too, and you got to try and keep them relatively even, or you'll get some kind of posture issue. So you always are trying to keep the antagonist muscles relatively similar in size, that are similar in strength, endurance, size. Very important. If not, you're going to throw off your posture, possibly hurt yourself, make it more difficult to perform exercises, make it so you can't perform exercises correctly. Talk about that another time, but just imagine you're trying to get a big chest, but your shoulders are out here. You can't really get that stretch, So if you have bad posture, you're not going to be able to perform these exercises extremely well. So if your upper traps, which most people, extremely strong upper traps, because upper traps want to do everything. They want to do back, they want to press, they want to freaking do everything. They're way stronger than your lower traps. You're going to be like this. It's just not going to be good. Even sometimes you'll see people who, or I'll work with a new client and they're sort of like this, as you can tell, one trap's low, one trap's, oh my goodness, loose, not tight, one's tight, gotta mix that up, but that's usually because not enough strength to pull it down, so it's just getting tighter. So you want to make sure you are definitely doing both, making sure that they're equally strong, which, say for me, I will do like 120 pounds on the cable for elevation using the upper traps. And when I do pull downs, even when I just do my scapular pull downs, which is great, by the way, you should do that a couple times a month just to really focus on your shoulder girdle and make sure it is good and strong, because once again, it does a lot, and the stronger it is, stronger your just overall core is, and it makes your extremities do less work. That's pretty much it. Stronger core, less work on the extremities. So beginners, intermediate, and advanced should all be doing shrugs, lat pull-down, tees, which you lie on a bench and you go like that. It's not so much a rear delt movement as you're really trying to protract and retract your back. Even squeezing the heck out of your shoulder girdle and doing tees is great. Though that is like the most important exercise that so many people do not do. It is definitely something that is missed by a lot of people. It is main reason for back problems is lack of development in the middle traps. You definitely want to be doing tees. And then also straight arm scapular strength exercises, like the straight arm lat pull down or push down, whatever you call it, where you got your thing back, you go like this, and the isometric holding that there is so important for your core strength. Like I was talking about earlier, babies. You're holding a baby. You have that back there. Really, that's doing most of the work. And if you got big, strong traps and other big, strong back muscles that are going to help do it, it's going to be so much easier for you. But if that's weak and you're leaning forward like that, you can't do that. You're going to have to use another muscle like your spine. So soon you lean forward like this, and so hard on your back. So the straight arm scapular push down, even like getting a cable and going up, one hand, two hand, getting dumbbells. One of my favorites to do with new clients is get them to grab like a 10-pound plate, hold on to it, and just lift it up. Really hold your back down and back. Hold those traps right there. Do like a set of 15, you know? A few sets, of course, but those are so important. That's really going to strengthen your back, your traps. It's going to make everything to do with back easier. It's going to make you stronger. Even in like push-ups and bench and stuff, it's going to help you support so much easier. It's going to support your shoulders, less chance of shoulder injury. Seriously, guys, tees and the straight arm scapular strength, so important. If you get anything out of this video, start doing that. If you want some more ideas on what to do with that and everything, let me know in the comments. So for beginners, I'm saying you should do 6 to 10 sets a week. You can do that in one workout. I prefer doing it in 2 workouts, so 3 to 5 sets a week. What the heck, you know? So basically, I'm just saying that for upper traps, 3 to 5 sets twice a week. For middle, 3 to 5 sets twice a week. And for lower, 3 to 5 sets twice a week. Depending on how you're doing your lat pull down, you might get that through back day if you are going like completely vertical or pretty much. But if you're trying to get a big back and you're going sort of like this angle, not going to be do so much, you might want to throw those just scapular depression and elevation in there to really get those guys working. So yeah, 3 to 5 sets twice a week. Shrugs, tees, scapular pull downs, whatever. Do a couple of warm-up sets, and then once again you're trying to hit sets where you're hitting like 15 at first, and then take a couple minutes break, go back, and you want to be like around 12. If you hit 15 or like more again, or even more than 15 because you woke your muscle up, you got to increase the weight. So then you keep basically going for 12. Once you hit below 10, you're done. You've used all your strength. That's where you're going to get the size. That's basically just what you want to do. Intermediates, I'd say that's when you guys, like after at least 6 months of training, maybe a couple years, depending on how much you do, once you've got your beginner gains, you're starting to slow down. You might feel a little bit blocky, you're not used to it. This is the time when you should start doing Ys. So just like T's, you're going to be on a bench, but you're going to be doing like a capital Y. Holding that those shoulders down and back, just like that, rotate. It's fantastic. Not a lot of weight. More reps than weight. Or I's, which are same thing, but just closer to the body, down near your butt. And for you intermediates, you can also start getting into heavy bent over shrugs. Typically, I like to use like an angular machine. Like I use an incline bench shoulder press machine. It goes on a bit of a tilt like this. So when I push on it, it's got this angular thing, which I have seen plenty of machines at gyms. So I will go onto that and I will grab it like this and I will go. I'll get the big stretch, protract, go up, get that retraction. That is amazing, especially once you get some strength and you get a little bit of mind and muscle connection from doing the T's in the middle trap. Soon you're going to be able to really hit that, really attack that. And then with those as well, you are hitting upper traps and middle traps, but also sort of like in between the two. So it is a great, great for size, great for strength, great for power. Yeah. Once again, you guys only want to do like, well, I guess you guys do like 8 to 12 sets a week for each section of traps. So for each day, like 4 to 6 sets. So that's like one really hard work or one workout where you didn't just do 3 sets of strength because your third set you were still over 10. Like I say, you start at 15, go to 12, you know, do another one, you're at 12, you do another one, you're at 9, perfect, that's where you stop. But if you do like 15, 12, 12, 12, 12, 12, you're clearly not going heavy enough, you're not pushing hard enough. You can push hard, you can push more weight, you're just taking the easier road out. So make sure you're hitting like 15, 16, take a couple minutes and you come back. You can only do like 12 to 14, come back a little bit while later. Hopefully you're down to like 7 to 9 because that just means you don't have to do a lot of work. Your muscle got hit and everything. But if not, do a few more until you hit below 10. And once again, if it takes more than 4 sets, you're most likely, you either have crazy endurance and you've been doing this for a long time, or you have, or you're just not doing it properly. Sure. Sort of lost my train of thought there. Anyways, we're going to move on now to advanced. So, now it's time to like really change up the angles. You know, if you're doing upper traps, having the barbell in front of the body, having it behind the body, having dumbbells to your side, using cables, on both sides, you know, even like way out like this, going like this, or even just one cable, trying to really get like a good up and like twist, trying to get that hole. That's great. You guys are gonna advanced, I'm assuming you have the size. If you don't have the size, go back to intermediate. That's pretty much it. Advanced is when you have the size and you're like, okay, I just want to make them look pretty now. I want to be like, brr, most muscular, freaking hitting myself in the chin with my massive traps, you know. So now it's time to make them sexy. So, like I said, different angles, different things, cables, changing the angle of posture to really hit the mid and upper traps. So I talked about this before with the machine, really trying to like sort of bend over and get mid and upper traps to work together. That is going to be huge on size. It's going to make your back enormous. It's going to give you much more muscle in there to support yourself on bench press or push-ups or really anything. But also for you advanced, don't just focus on max strength anymore. Once you're at this point, traps don't just disappear. They're big, they're bad. As long as you train them regularly, they're not going anywhere. It's not, traps love to be big and bad. They're big and bad for a lot of people before you even start working out because they just want to do so much. So doing some more high rep sets to promote blood flow and endurance is important, but it'll also help, but also really getting a good squeeze, contracting them, feeling them in different angles and doing all that, not just trying to do like 8 to 12 reps, doing 15 to like 20 reps. It's really going to help with development of the entire traps. Yeah, so that's basically your traps. I'm pretty sure I covered everything. Don't forget, so summarize, upper, mid, lower. Upper, you go like this. Lower, you go like this. That's pretty much their main jobs. The middle, you go like this. So many people don't do that, you know, or they think when they row, that's good enough. Hey, you know, you might row in a certain way and that's great, but typically it's not enough. Make sure you guys start doing T's. Once you got your beginner games, you feel stronger there. You're actually pulling your scapula together. You're feeling all those muscles. That's when you can start doing Y's and I's and getting the heavier the heavier sort of bent over rows, but really just focusing on your traps because you have that mind to muscle connection and it is developed a little bit. So yeah, I said way too much and I apologize for that. slowly getting better at this. But yeah, if you guys have any other questions about the traps, feel free to reach out. But do know it is extremely important to train your shoulder girdle. You go onto magazines, you go online, there's not a lot of places telling you to train your shoulder girdle. It is extremely important, extremely, especially for your back, especially for sedentary people who are in an office chair sitting there all day slouched over, kids playing video games, whatever, especially years. Like, I was a big video gamer when I was younger, played video games for years. I had horrible posture. It took me a long time. I still fight with my posture every day because it was just years. It wants to go back to that. That was natural, but I'm saying no, can't do it. Make sure those traps are good and strong. Then you can get them nice and developed. Soon you got a big sexy back and can't complain about that, you know. For athletic stuff, for power, you definitely can do power for traps. I sort of spoke just about strength, but once you are at sort of the intermediate stage, maybe a little bit past the intermediate stage, you're starting to get some actual size in your mid traps, not just a little bit of definition, but now you've been doing some heavier trap rows, heavier shrug, like bent over shrugs. Now, now you can start doing some power. So I've said this before. I go off on tangents and I sort of try and go back to what I was saying. I was like, okay, wait, what was I talking about? And look, I just did power. So power, everybody knows power is like 1 to 6 reps. Some people say 1 to 5. Some people say 1 to 3. As long as you keep it like 6 or less, you're pretty much hitting power. Just make sure it's explosive. If you are trying to train for power and you're like, brrr, or you're like, yeah, that is strength. That's not power. Power is boom. That is power. The explosiveness. So make sure you're working with a weight that you can explode. Don't grab 200 pounds and be like, yeah, I'm building my power. Because you're building your strength, which is great. But if you're working for power, bring the weight down. Make sure you can go through that full range of motion explosively in control. Yeah. And then for endurance-wise, the traps are beasts. They love to do as much work as possible. You could really do like 15, 20, 25, even 30 reps. Just make sure you're squeezing the heck out of it. Doing the full range of motion. You don't have to always do full range of motion, but should at some point for each workout. But yeah, I have basically talked about everything I can talk about, and now I'm just sort of going off. So thanks for tuning in, guys. I will be doing another video tomorrow. I'm not exactly sure what body part yet, but stay tuned to see. Subscribe and drop me a like, and please leave me some comments. Let's start a discussion. Any questions you have, any topics you want me to cover, yeah, let me know. This is CS Natural Fitness. See you guys later.